What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sasha P back at it again, bringing you real gardening, good food, and entertainment. Y'all, I don't watch TV much, but I ended up watching the 6 Triple 8. When I tell y'all this movie is a must watch, I mean it. So, everything took place in World War II era. So it was like in the 1940s. And as you know, it was a lot of racism and whatnot going on. But when I tell y'all, Tyler Perry really did his research and captured the essence of that time frame. I really mean that. The set, you know what I'm saying? How he did the set, how he dressed the characters. It really did take you back to that time frame. Big ups to Tyler Perry because he did that. So everything took place in the World War II era in the 1940s. And y'all know it was a whole lot of racism and whatnot going on. And so basically, during that time in the war, the mail was really backed up. Like the soldiers was not getting their mail, morale was down. You know, you had mothers super worried about their sons in the war. You had wives worried about their spouses in the war, and it was a really miserable time. So what had happened was um the military needed the mail to be sorted out. They was backed up on the mail situation. It was like a whole bunch of hangers that had so many pieces of mail, like 17 million pieces of mail. Back then, it wasn't no social media, you know what I'm saying? No cell phones or none of that. So the only way that families could contact the soldiers was through the mail system. And it was totally backed up. It was a mess. That's when the 6 Triple 8 came through for everybody. It was an all black female company that in the military made sure that everything was sorted out. And when I tell you the conditions that they were in was treacherous, but they made it work. And it's like, wow, to see this history, to see this story was amazing because I didn't know that there was an all black female battalion, company, whatever you want to call it, in the military that did all of this. Like, I totally did not know this history. This is a true gem. Honey child, Kerry Washington. Kerry, kudos to you. When I say she played that part to a T, she did that. She didn't come into the movie like, I think it was like after 25 minutes or something like that. She came into the movie. When I say she put on a performance, she played that role. Um, it was like very, it was like a touching film because to see what we went through as black women back in that time, oh child, she led those soldiers, she motivated them in the midst of her going through everything that she was going through. She managed to lead those soldiers and she trained them very well. They was able to sort out all of that mail. It was a lot of mail, y'all. After watching this movie, I have a newfound appreciation for just mail carriers in general. The people who come out and put your mail in a box. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal. To me, it made me proud, you know, um, because I too was in the military and I have several women in my family who have served in the military and men too. But this movie focused on the women of color back in that time. And it was a struggle back then. You know, we was not um able to drink out of the same fountains without getting, cussed out or whatever. But they broke barriers in this movie. They really set the standard. And go back and watch the movie. Um, I don't have the names of the soldiers that Kerry Washington and the other actresses played, but when I tell y'all, they really did embody the characters. I have watched this movie twice because it was just that good. It takes a lot to keep my attention, especially when it comes down to like movies and things of that nature. Like it's gotta really capture my attention. So when I tell y'all, Carrie and the other young lady who played, I don't know her name, but her name is Ebony, I believe. But she played another young lady. She was in love with a Caucasian man, and like she really, really um missed him. So he ended up dying in the war. And he wrote her letters and stuff like that, but she didn't get the mail because the mail was backed up. But in the movie, she ended up finding, you know, mail from this man. And it was really, man, it was so touching. The love story behind it that was told was amazing. The leadership was amazing. They even lost a couple of soldiers over there because they ended up getting deployed to Europe. And so, just to see the story was just, it was awesome. 10 out of 10. Tyler, mm-hmm, you did that. Ain't nobody messing with Tyler Perry when it come down to this movie thing. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. The movie kept you watching, and that's what I like about the movie because, this is real history right here. Um, the conditions that they went into was horrible, and it was winter time over there in Europe, so it was super super cold. Like they had to clean up their space, get the space together. They had officers over them that was doubting them, didn't think they could do it. They gave the soldiers 6 months to clear everything up, and during that time they dealt with a whole bunch of racism and stuff like that. So it was like, in the midst of all of that, they were very strong. Excuse me, just got through eating a salad. um but yeah, go watch that movie. I highly encourage y'all to go watch the movie because um you don't see stories like this often. I loved everything from how he set up everything. I loved how he captured, moments of love and moments of conflict. There was no sugarcoating in this movie. It's on Netflix. It's called The 6888. Highly, highly recommend y'all go and watch it. Just to know that we did that is amazing. Just to know that they sorted all of that mail out, even in the challenges. Like some pieces of mail was not properly postmarked, you know what I'm saying? Some mail had blood on it. It was just all in a bunch of like big bags and stuff like that. The mail was very, very important back then. It's still important now. But back then, the systems were not in place. The technology was not in place the way it is now. From coding mail to sorting it by city, state, zip, and all of that was not in place. So for Carrie to take on this role was amazing. She really did come into character for this movie. Like, she really did show us that, you know, um, she really did show us the history. She really did embody the character. I love how, you know, when they wore the uniforms. I loved that one scene where they marched right off the ship. They came over to Europe on a ship, and the ship was like moving and doing all kind of stuff. They was seasick. They had never been on ships and stuff like that. So it was just really a touching movie. What else can I say about this movie? It shows that your first love, your first innocent love is something that will stick with you forever. I did not cry, um, but I felt very empowered when I watched this movie, because just to see how far we have come, especially in the military, to see how far we have come, and to see the advancements, to see how the mail is now, how it's moved out now versus how it was moved out then, is amazing. Teamwork. I also learned that teamwork makes the dream work. She got her soldiers together. They talked about the strengths of this person, that person, how we can, uh, put this thing together. How can we get everything organized? How can we make sure that these soldiers get their meal? Even though it was a very daunting task, like it was crazy. When you watch the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. It was like so many hangers that had so many pieces of mail in it, and they doubted those soldiers. They actually had other male soldiers in place to try to get this to work, but it did not work. Once again, it did not work. That's all I got for this video. That's all I got for this video. All I can say is go watch the 688. Shout out to Tyler Perry. Y'all, he telling the stories the way they need to be told. He doing what needs to be done. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see y'all on the next one.